It was just past noon on a Friday afternoon at Glenridge High School in small-town Missouri. The lunchroom was buzzing, students laughing, phones out, sneakers squeaking against the linoleum floors. But in the far corner of the library, 16-year-old Samira Ahmad sat quietly at a table, a soft brown hijab wrapped neatly around her head. In front of her, a well-worn English translation of the Qur'an lay open. She was reading silently, her lips moving gently in rhythm with the verses, absorbing each word with reverence and clarity. It wasn't part of any classroom assignment. It wasn't a protest. She wasn't preaching or disturbing anyone. It was just her and her faith. But what she didn't know was that someone was watching. The door to the library opened abruptly. In walked Principal David Collins, a broad-shouldered man in his 50s with a reputation for discipline and an ego bigger than the school itself. He scanned the room, eyes narrowing as they landed on Samira. He approached her table with purpose. "Miss Ahmad," he said sternly, "this is a public school. You can't be reading that here." Samira blinked in confusion. "Sir, I'm just reading. I'm not bothering anyone." But Collins didn't want a discussion. "That book has no place here. Take your things and come with me." Before she could gather her thoughts, he'd confiscated the Quran and led her to the office. Within an hour, she was suspended for inappropriate religious activity during academic hours. Her eyes welled with tears, not because she was ashamed, but because she couldn't believe how easy it was for someone in power to treat her faith like a threat. The suspension hit Samira hard. Her parents, immigrants from Senegal, were heartbroken but composed. They taught her to seek dignity even in injustice. But the fallout at school was worse. Whispers followed her in the hallways. Students started avoiding her, unsure of what had actually happened. Some even mocked her under their breath. "You get suspended for reading your little terrorist book?" Someone sneered at her locker. Samira didn't respond. She walked away, jaw clenched, her eyes stinging. The teachers didn't help. Most stayed silent. One even suggested she just be more careful next time. But there was one person who did speak up. Cynthia Martinez, the school's white female AP government teacher, saw the injustice for what it was. She pulled Samira aside after school. "You have every right to read that book," she said, "and no one has the right to take that from you." Cynthia posted a short tweet that night, a photo of the confiscated Quran with the caption, "A black Muslim girl suspended from a public school library for reading silently during lunch. This isn't discipline, it's discrimination." By morning, the tweet had over 150,000 retweets. Hashtag #StandWithSamira was trending by noon. Muslim advocacy groups, civil rights organizations, and thousands of outraged Americans began flooding Glenridge's phones and emails. The school's website went down under the pressure. News stations showed up in front of the school gates. Principal Collins wasn't prepared. What he thought would be a quiet disciplinary action became a national scandal. He called an emergency press conference, attempting to spin the narrative. "We simply enforce school policy to prevent disruption. This is not about religion." But when a reporter asked why Christian students had never been suspended for wearing cross necklaces or praying before meals, he stammered and fell silent. A clip of his hesitation went viral. In just 3 days, Collins went from local authority to the face of modern-day religious discrimination. Samira, initially hesitant to speak, finally agreed to do a live interview on national television. Sitting beside her father and Cynthia, she spoke softly but with power. "I wasn't trying to make a statement. I was just trying to feel closer to God during a time I needed peace. And I was punished for it." Her words cut deep. Millions watched. Celebrities reposted it. Prominent imams and pastors alike voiced support. Even members of Congress weighed in. "This isn't about faith. It's about the right to exist without shame," one post read. Samira's story became more than a headline. It became a rallying cry. Under pressure, the Glenridge School Board convened a public hearing. Hundreds packed the school auditorium, many wearing shirts with her name on it. Collins tried to defend himself again, claiming he acted in the best interest of order. But the board wasn't buying it. Cynthia took the stand next. Her voice didn't tremble. If Samira was a white Christian student reading the Bible, would we be here today? You know the answer. The crowd erupted in applause. That night, the board voted unanimously to overturn Samira's suspension and issue a formal apology. But the story didn't end there. Samira wasn't interested in revenge. She was interested in change. She joined a statewide youth coalition advocating for religious freedom in public schools. She spoke at rallies, schools, and universities. She helped push for the Student Faith Protection Act, a bill that would eventually pass with bipartisan support. And she didn't stop there. Samira applied and was accepted into a prestigious STEM program at MIT. When asked in her application essay what moment changed her life, she wrote, "The day I was suspended for reading my holy book was the day I learned I could read the world and change it." A year later, Glenridge High held a special assembly for Black History Month and Interfaith Harmony Week. The school had changed leadership. Collins had resigned. The new principal, an African-American woman, invited Samira to speak. She stepped onto the stage, wearing a flowing olive green hijab and a confident smile. The entire auditorium rose to their feet. "I never imagined I'd be welcomed back here like this," she said. "But maybe that's what faith is. Believing light will return, even when the room is dark." She paused, holding up her Qur'an. "No one will ever take this from me again. And if they try, they'll have to answer to more than just me. They'll have to answer to all of us." The applause didn't stop. Samira's story reminds us that strength doesn't always roar. It sometimes reads in silence. That dignity can't be suspended. And that when we stand together, even the smallest voice can shake the world. If the story moved you, share it. Let the world know. Her faith is not a threat. It's her superpower.